thrive and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough. 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 If we care enough.
We gonna let the band deal with this. MIA style. Old school. Okay. Shut up. Okay. What's up? Shut up. Okay. What's up? Okay. Shut up. Okay. They what's up? Shut up. Okay, what's up? Riding around in my brand new 99 photo Volvo. I got a pocket full of bees. Ain't got no place to go though. But all my boys, they know though. That's for sure though.
Are those bigger boy jeans you're wearing?
Hell nah, you know they polo. I've been used again, accused again. This time been wrong for job, something done by one of my using friends. Soon as they seen the Benz, hate the season was in. Hell, cause they ain't feeling me, but I understand and they reason being.
Happy Thursday. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. A little Trick Daddy to get us started. Trick Daddy and Trina, actually. Shut up. Okay. What's up? Shut up. And as you know, this is the show where we hit all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture with me, your host, Jill Munroe. And, you know, we like to stay on theme. That's what we do with the music. That's the playlist. So keep that in mind. Trick Daddy, shut up as we get into the topics this evening and roll through. I hope that you are relaxed. I hope that you have had an amazing Thursday. You know, we call that Friday Junior. And you are ready to get into these trending topics and headlines. As always, there's quite a bit to discuss. So let me give you a rundown of what we're going to get into this evening. So first up, as I said, we work with a theme around here. Well, comedian Kountry Wayne, he would like someone to hush. His ex-girlfriend, comedian Jess Hilarious, in a recent interview, Kountry Wayne said he would like to see Jess have other things going on so that she has other things to talk about in her interview. So we'll get into his comments, whether or not that is a valid and fair request, plus the details surrounding it and more. We're also going to get into, you know, Cat Williams. It's only been 2 weeks since that interview dropped. Just 2 weeks. Seems like it's been 6 months. The amount of conversation that it started, the amount of, you know, just everywhere, everything. The video views are still climbing. We'll get into a little bit of that later. However, you know, Kat hurled some accusations at Kevin Hart, stating that he was an industry plant. Well, we know Kevin has a new film that dropped recently on Netflix, Lift. We're going to give you a little information about how Lift did following all this Cat Williams, Kevin Hart hoopla. And Kevin answers the claims about being an industry plant. So we're going to get into that. And then coming up in the third hour, listen, it was announced today that a show that was developed by Issa Rae that was on Max, you know, HBO Max is now just Max, called Rap-ish, was canceled. And it sparked a debate across social media whether or not, since the pandemic and the great reckoning, the great racial reckoning, I should say, and we saw a lot more black content, and I guess, you know, not just black content, but a lot of black content especially sweep in, and now we're seeing a lot of those shows be canceled or various things happen with them. So we're going to look at, are the shows being canceled too quickly? Is it the programming? We're going to examine a bunch of different angles related to this and have a conversation because, I think that with some things there is a misconception and others, we might be right on topic. So we'll get into that. But before we do, of course, we like to start the night with a few conversation starters. These are topics, subjects, things, news stories that we want you to be aware of, but we don't have time to get into the full details. First of all, it's January 18th, and back in 2005, The Game released the documentary album. And by far, if you think about it, right, no matter what you feel about The Game, if you think about the producers that were featured on that album, right? Dr. Dre, Scott Storch, Kanye, Just Blaze, Timbaland, Cool and Dre. For your debut album, I want to know, and I want to know this from Andy especially, is this a classic album? Is it a classic debut album? We'll get into that a little bit. Just let you marinate for that marinate on that for a second. So Nick Cannon, he is a father of 12, and he is not shy about taking shots at himself about it, sort of beating you to the punch. He is a comedian after all. And he is featured in a new Buffalo Wild Wings ad where he, basically makes fun of having a lot of mouths to feed. So basically, in the commercial, the restaurant chain has a new promotion, buy one, get one wing free, right? So Nick is promoting this, and his essential message is, I got 12 kids. Of course I want to buy a wing and get a wing free. I don't know. We'll check it out, report back, let us know if you think it's funny or not. And speaking of the Cat Williams, Shannon Sharp interview, Club Shay Shay, we know that it's been a little over 2 weeks since that interview dropped. Think that it is about to take the top spot for most viewed interview on YouTube ever. Last I checked, it was at 52 million. It's got 266 million impressions across all social media, 1.2 million downloads, 900,000 YouTube subscribers gained for Club Shay Shay. The numbers go on and on, not to mention all of the other, areas that it spawns. So shout out to him. But I have a question for you that we'll get to on the other side that goes along with our topic for the night. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. The Queen Sleep Number C2 smart bed is now only $9.90. Plus, free home delivery when you add any base. Ends Monday. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by January 31st at coveredca.com.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king. Climate is king. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So I was sharing with you some of the numbers from Club Shay Shay and the Shannon Sharpe interview with Cat Williams. So first, I just want to know, and this kind of has to do with the subject matter that we're going to get into later with Kountry Wayne, because the interview where Kountry Wayne shared this information just happened to also be on Club Shay Shay. And it's the follow-up to the Cat Williams interview. Do you think Shannon maybe should have held this interview and tried to follow up the Cat Williams interview? Not necessarily with, I don't know, I'm saying, you know, a name, but just a different vibe or a different, no shade to Kountry Wayne at all, but just a different type of guest considering what happened. I'm not saying to change anything as far as what he does in his interviews or anything like that. I'm just saying, should we have maybe tabled this interview and put something else in between? Just wondering. Andy?
I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Okay.
I hear where you're coming from, though, and I understand it. But I think that Shannon Sharpe might be finding somewhat of a niche.
Okay.
And I hate to say it.
With comedy, or do you mean,
no,
okay.
With the content of Club Shay Shay,
So
with regards to his guests.
He's like a Carisha Please for men.
I wouldn't necessarily go
I'm
there.
I
think he's going the Jerry Springer messy route a little bit.
Okay.
Like it's a place for people to kind of expose people and call people out.
Air people out. I mean, because
think
Kountry
that's-
Wayne did allude to the couch bringing something out of him after that. And here's the thing, you know, different people use different styles, different tactics to do what they do. And I noticed, though, that when Shannon was talking about the Cat Williams interview and the follow-up, he was concerned about what might come his way as far as blowback, for lack of a better term. And, you know, with the numbers that it's done, be kind of hard for people to try to, because then it would just look like what it is. But, you know, it is a valid thing sometimes when you take on that position. Sometimes people aren't going to be happy with you, and they may not outwardly retaliate, but they may try and, you know, throw some oil up in your mix or something to that degree. Andy?
I mean, I agree. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he talked about how Steven Jackson talked
Facts.
about him. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are some people who have issues or whatnot. But, I mean, hey, when you're doing something good, I mean, the haters are just going to come. That's just part of the game.
That is facts. So do you think Game's album is a classic, his debut? Is it a classic?
Man, I thought about that, during the break. It was a great, superb album.
But
for the time being, right?
Mhm.
2005, I'll never forget. It meant a lot for the West Coast, specifically, Southern California or whatnot. He was kind of like that bridge, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
We haven't,
because we hadn't had a lot of West Coast heat at
Yeah.
that time period. It was really a Southern thing. Trap music
Absolutely.
was big. We talked about Lil Jon. His birthday was yesterday. Definitely was Lil Jon, Franchise Boys,
For sure.
all of that.
for sure. Even
Jeezy.
Jeezy, he dropped in 2005. I think Texas actually also was popping in '05. Paul Wall, Mike Jones, and Slim
Right.
Thug. It's a great album. I wouldn't necessarily call it a classic. Just, there's maybe a couple songs that I would skip. But, if anybody else felt that it was a classic,
You wouldn't be mad
I
at
wouldn't
it.
push back at all because it was a great album and the impact of that album meant so much. And let me just go ahead and say that I wasn't surprised that he would be beefing with 50 right afterwards. I just felt like it wasn't all the way 100%
Match.
fit.
Yeah.
But, I get sometimes you got to get in where you fit in.
I mean, because a lot of people were after the game. I remember Big Boy talking about how Game rolled up on the free Big Boy, radio teacher. And that Game rolled up on the side of him on the freeway and like tossed his CD into the window, like, listen to my demo. I'm a rapper, da 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 da, check me out. And we know Game can be a little extravagant with his stories at times, but this was a story that Big Boy actually shared. So it happened, and people were checking for him. It's so interesting to see the trajectory of his career. And Game is someone that I feel social media did a lot for him, but it also hurt him in a lot of ways. I mean, I guess the jury's out if he would have had the run that he has had on the positive side, if he hadn't gone as far as he did with some of the social media things. But I don't know. Do you remember when like Instagram first got started and he started doing the thing where he would do the hikes at Runyon Canyon, and he had his fitness camp, so he would
He was thirst trapping, basically.
and then he started having like, come meet me at Runyon. I'm about
I do
to do
remember
the
that.
and it ended up being like a huge thing and a
Yeah.
huge workout thing or whatever. But it definitely was. Let me reboot my lineup as well.
What do you mean reboot your lineup? What do you mean?
Here's the thing, like, we talked about how probably back in the day, well, not probably, back in the day, it was a lot more difficult for people to connect and have a personal or, a personal interaction, I'll say, with a celebrity or a rapper or whomever. And now with the advent of social media, it's very, very easy because you're a DM away.
Right.
And you can be up close and personal with whomever. So if you know that you could go meet rapper 2B and maybe producer A and actor that is like the sixth man, not like that, I'm not being like that, but just in one place, and you're interested, or why would you not go? You don't have to do much to get there.
So are you saying like he kind of capitalized off of social media?
100%, yeah.
Okay, because I know YouTube pretty much started off in '05 or whatnot. I don't know when Instagram started or
Instagram started in 2000. Well, it got started 2011.
2011.
It started maybe a little bit before that, but 2011 is when it started. Twitter had that big run from
Right.
like 2009 to 2000. It still kept on for longer than that, but the wild, wild west days of that type of thing. I know Game was also on MySpace doing his
Sure.
thing and stuff. So he is someone that I feel used social media to his advantage, but I also think because he was really comfortable in that area, he may have gotten too loose, and there are some things that got him caught up with that.
50's pretty loose on social media, so you probably learn from the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say this: the Game, if you had to rank maybe your top 20 MCs from the West Coast, he's definitely top 20, and he's definitely he has a footprint when it comes to West Coast hip hop. So I don't want to take that away
no,
from him.
I don't either. It's just he definitely has some,
He's messy.
yeah, a little bit, a little bit. It's like, and a lot of people are, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's in good fun, but sometimes it's just like, come on, gang, don't do that far.
I mean, hey.
But
Whatever floats your boat.
yeah. Okay, so now that we've established that, listen, before we get into the Country Wayne story, we've been talking about Taraji quite a bit and the color purple, and there's been debates on if the reason why it may not have performed up to expectations of some were because the conversation surrounding the film went from celebratory and about the musical and the accomplishments to leaning more on some of the struggles that Taraji has gone through in her career. So recently, Taraji spoke out and she said that she is ready for the narrative to change around it. She said that, her comments about the pay disparity in Hollywood, that revelation, she didn't expect it to go viral in the way that it did. And she said that, I hope that they can focus back on this film because right now to me, it feels like what I said is now becoming louder than this beautiful film. She said it's not fair to me or anybody because the film deals with women who are oppressed, who live in an oppressed system, men and women, and all the characters in the film except for the white people. So that movie is about healing, and the movie is about sisterhood. And this was when she was speaking with Today.com, by the way. She also added that, the controversy about the alleged beef between her and Miss Winfrey, she said that there's nothing to spin, that she sees what's going on, and, that everyone saw Oprah Winfrey doing the electric slide in the dust with them. She said she was right there in the field. She held our hands the entire production. She showed up for us. She was there. There are producers who never show up to set. And she said that Oprah called her personally and said, not my team, not my people, me. That they wanted to make sure that Taraji was happy and okay. And, that there was an understanding that there's nothing there despite what other people are trying to add to it. So I guess the question is, do you feel like it's too little too late? The Color Purple went to video on demand on Tuesday the 16th. So it might still be in theaters somewhere, but you can watch it at home, stream it at home, rent it. So it is available. But, should we have heard this maybe earlier in this news cycle of conversation? Andy?
I mean, hindsight being 2020, she probably should have saved her sentiments until after the movie came out.
I agree. I mean, I guess it's hard because I don't think she went into this intending to discuss that, intending for that to be a topic of conversation. It was probably, just a response in that particular interview that you never know what people are going to latch on to from a conversation.
That's real.
But I suppose at some point, maybe we could have waited to revisit the rest of it at a later time.
Absolutely.
I don't know. You never want to say someone should be silenced in that manner, but I don't know. It's a lot to say. It is sad that, The Color Purple isn't the blockbuster right now that we all expected it to be.
She aired a huge grievance
Yeah.
at a time in which you're trying to promote something. So, I hopefully it's just a lesson learned for herself and any other actor or actress out there. Like, if you have issues with a particular, the industry or whatnot, you may want to hold off onto them comments, especially if you're trying to, if you got a project coming out, you may want to hold off on that.
I guess the sort of catch-22 of that is also that, but that is the time, unfortunately, when the eyes are going to be on you, when people are going to be paying attention to what you have to say when you are more likely to be a guest on things. But as Cat Williams has shown us, you never know when you could break news. Listen, when we have a call. Fahima from DC. Hey, Fahima. Happy Thursday. How are ya?
Greetings, Jill. Listen, you're correct. I think a lot of the spin that a lot of these people on YouTube had a negative impact on the film. I remember observing the interview that the cast did with Gayle King, and Gayle King brought the issue up. I've been having discourse with people online about this because people have been putting out all kind of misinformation. But most importantly, Gayle King raised it. She said, "I heard you were thinking about quitting acting."
Mm-hmm.
Gayle King was the one that brought this up. She didn't just sat on the couch and started talking about this.
And so I think, that is a very valid point. And I wonder if Gayle brought it up, being that she's Oprah's best friend. And, Gayle is an amazing journalist. So
absolutely,
there's a story there.
And see, the fact that there's a very close friendship between Gayle King and Oprah, and Gayle King was the one that brought it up. People who are sitting there saying that Oprah was responsible. She's the executive producer. Executive producer doesn't negotiate contracts and sign checks. It was Warner Brothers. And people have been saying all kinds of things online, and I think a lot of the online discourse and misinformation had the impact on the film. But I saw the film and I thought it was great. And I normally don't like musicals.
I am a musical lover. I appreciated the film. It was beautifully done. There were things that I may have taken issue with, but overall, I thought it was very well put together. Danielle Brooks blew me away. I mean, there's several performances that did, but I do understand some people feeling like that may have put a damper on it. Listen, when we come forward, we will continue this conversation and we'll get into Country Wayne. Do you think you should slam your ex in public if you both are public figures? We'll talk a little bit more about that on the other side. You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? Shut up. Okay. What's up? Shut up.
Okay, who's the baddest? Been real, been rich, been had this. Big bands, big houses. That's right. Okay, I've been down with Trick. Okay, that makes sense to me, cause if your money ain't right, you speaking fresh to me. Mistreated, don't play with me. Or you can say miss, it's okay with me. You need a grand just speak to me. Okay, now you sure you wanna see with me? Okay, you better be for sure, cause I done left like you stuck before. Okay, you can ball with me since you got a hot and I spend it all with me. Okay, I know what's up. Okay, I ride, shut up.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Ohio police are looking into the source of some hateful materials that were recently mailed to a Franklinton nonprofit. Franklinton Farms Executive Director Gabrielle Fields says she is the first Black individual to head up the organization, and it is not a coincidence that the racist mailing came shortly after she took over. An envelope that was sent to the urban farm included printouts of Columbus area officials and civil rights activists, along with some hateful statements and terms. Fields says she believes the mailing was directed at her, noting that other nonprofits she has spoken with have not received anything suspicious. Monson, Massachusetts' first cannabis dispensary has opened. Dazed Cannabis is Black and veteran-owned. In addition to the product, Dazed offers celebrity events and meet and greets. The owners say long-term plans are to open more dispensaries along the eastern seaboard. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, As the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black History. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by January 31st at coveredca.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I started vaping my freshman year of high school, mostly because all my friends had vapes. I wanted to fit in with them and look cool and be a part of everything that they were doing. The hardest part about quitting for me was all my friends still hitting their vapes right next to me. It was really frustrating and confusing when I was trying to quit because in my head I knew I didn't want to do it anymore, but for some reason my brain still wanted it.
No quit story is the same. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, like a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in the combo. Single item at regular price.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
For a second on the balcony, scoping you down, you're looking fly to me. All dressed up and buying your own drinks, and that ain't right. I thought you can't handle it on your own, but you're too damn fly to drink it all alone. Can I come double with you? To you, I'ma make a toast. Come on, don't talk, baby, just move with me. Take a sip, you kinda got you feeling busy. It's alright with me if it's alright with you. Don't talk, baby, just move with me. Take a sip.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And I should add, this is a good point to add. If at any point you want to join the conversation, hit us up, 800-920-1580. Of course, we love to get your input. Thomas Outlaw in the chat on our topic about Taraji and her press run related to The Color Purple. He says it's two separate things. I think Taraji deserves all of her gain, but she burned the thunder of a big movie. And two, no matter how it's retooled, The Color Purple is a remake. I mean, I think that there are lots of instances where remakes go on and are just as popular as the original, or at least people don't feel let down by it, you know? Tons of examples. You can look at how many times have we restarted the Spider-Man franchise. The Addams Family, you know, we saw the film series and then we see it tweaked slightly, made into a successful Netflix series. So I do feel like there are more original stories that we could tap into, but, you know, I'm not mad at them wanting to do a remake. I don't know. You know, for me, I understand what The Color Purple meant, but I also feel like that first film, it's hard to, you know, kind of compete with that. And no matter what we say, people are always going to compare what happened with both of those. So, you know, but shout out to them. There is always a second life in streaming. And if you believe in it, support with your views, because it's not enough just to speak on it. You got to show that you are really there for the types of things that you say you want to see. Shout out to DJ Black 909 in the chat. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us and locking in. Now, let's talk about Kountry Wayne. So, as I mentioned, he recently was on Club Shay Shay, and a few years back, Wayne and comedian Jess Hilarious were in a relationship together. And since they've been apart, during various interviews, Jess has discussed the relationship. Kountry Wayne, he started off on social media with, you know, doing skits and so forth, and has since evolved. He recently had a Netflix special. He's released a book. He has been in a couple of films. So, you know, the trajectory of his career seems to be on an upward swing, right? I think he has about 3.5 million followers on Instagram, for example. Not sure how many followers Jess has, but quite a bit too. So recently, Shannon did not bring up Jess, but the topic came up during the interview. And, you know, Kountry Wayne used the moment to clear the air. And he basically says that if Jess was working, really working, then when she was sitting in interviews, they wouldn't be asking about him. They'd be asking about her current activities. So let's hear what he had to say.
Jess Hilarious. I mean, should I bring her name?
Oh, you can bring her whatever you want to bring.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
No, man, listen, brother.
I just want to know, because I ain't messy.
Anything you want to talk to me about, I think this sofa is, ever since Cat Williams touched this sofa, the energy in this sofa, it make me want to talk about it. Jess, like I always told her, she never tells the 100% truth, and I let her do that.
Okay.
But I texted her the other day, I said, Jess, man, and I got kind of petty. I said, you got to get more going on in your career so they can start bringing up my name in your interview.
Wow.
Because when I come, Netflix special, his book, you know what I'm saying, this going on, that going on. We don't got to down each other. That's been 5 years ago.
Right.
If that's the main question in your interview, well, we got to put some work in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when Country Wayne come, when I go on Good Morning America, here, we don't talk about so much before we got to that.
Exactly.
You feel me? I'm like, man, we don't have.
And I was comfortable not talking about it.
Exactly. And I'm like, you can't. It's not working in your favor.
Right.
People go pretend it, but they watching. They see Country Wayne is taking care of black people. Movement. Don't let the people fool you.
Right.
They ain't on your side. I'm like, it ain't working. So I was just like, man, a lot of that she talk about, I let it slide, but man, that stuff ain't play out like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I separated from my wife.
Right.
Went and got Jess. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. I started talking to her.
Right.
And I got divorced. My divorce was 45 days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And me and her started talking. And then all the stuff she talking about on there, because my baby mama hit me up. She was like, can you please ask Jess to stop talking about that? Because now the kids are hearing it at school because she keep bringing it up. And that's the only reason made me hit her up.
Right.
I'm like, Jess, man, I ain't never said nothing negative about you, and everybody know that.
Right.
Let that ride.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But she want to be the winner. I'm like, Jess, let's be real. Because Charlamagne asked one time, he said, how you lose Jess and Larry? I said, how she lose Country Wayne? I'm the catch.
Right.
What you talking about? Like, let's be real. My baby mama's, yeah, they fine as I don't know what. Jess fine too.
Right.
But I been had them. She ain't had no Country Wayne.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, let's stop that, man. First of all, it's two black people talking. If you gonna speak, just speak the truth. Cause this sofa right here. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, but I'm like, man.
But she did say, she woke you up.
No, that ain't. Come on, man.
That didn't happen like that.
Happen like that.
So listen.
That not happen like that, man. That divorce went so fast. I filed in December. Me and my baby mom was divorced by February.
But at that point in time, when you had separated from your wife, you had started talking to Jess.
Yeah, I had started talking to Jess.
Okay.
All this stuff came out in the shade room. A lot of that was after that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she say we woke up, and then she was like, cause I tell him all the time, his stuff corny. I'm like, why you gotta call my stuff corny? Because I got a different audience that follow me too.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got the streets in the church. Ain't too many artists got the streets in the church. You know what I mean?
Man, what I be seeing, what you be talking about, you be making on social media month, that ain't nothing corny about that.
Ain't nothing corny, but see, that's that mentality of people from a certain, it's like, this world think this world corny, this world think this world corny. I think Martin was a good show and Big Bang Theory.
Right. Two different
Friends.
audiences.
Just because you think Friends corny, when they get the millionaire episode, you ain't gonna never grow artistically because you think only what you come from is good.
Right.
And that's the problem with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bruh, you gonna call this corny just because I ain't cursing because I'm finna get this in-stream ad money? Well, y'all keep going on tour.
Yeah. Got
to keep catching while Wayne sitting home in the bed, spending time with his kid. You know what I'm saying? Making this guapo.
So listen, there's a lot to unpack there. So we're gonna, go through a couple of things point by point. So one, he does have a point in that if the relationship was a couple of years ago, now one, people, like I say all the time, are gonna swing back to topics. They might want to ask a specific thing about that or get into a specific detail that they feel hasn't been covered. You can't control that. But the order with which it came, maybe if there was other things that were more intriguing, he might have a point. However, and we'll get more into this on the other side, I think I've determined Shannon Sharp's show will be where people go to get theirs off. That's what we'll say. They go to get theirs off, where they feel like my truth is going to be shared with the world. So we'll get into more about Wayne's statement on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency on low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Granddad, what's good?
Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets.
Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute.
Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes.
Oh man, is Mom telling everybody?
You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a quarter pounder with cheese or 10-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we were discussing Taraji P. Henson, and no, we have moved on from that. We were talking about Kountry Wayne and Jess is hilarious. So as I said, there's a lot of things to unpack with what he said. I mean, you know, they're both public figures, so again, they will probably, to a degree, be asked about each other, you know, for as long as they are in entertainment. That's one thing. And, you know, everyone has their own version of the truth, so to speak, in a breakup, right? And so there's that aspect of it, too. And he said he was being a little petty throwing those darts. I guess he probably has been holding on to a couple of those just because if he feels he was, you know, holding space for her to deal with it and put out whatever image she wanted, then, you know, when he got to the couch and the powers of the truth started surging through him, you know, he had to get a couple of those off. But why must we bring in that he's, so one, I'll say he is a comedian, so I'm going to take it as there was some, you know, fun in throwing out there that he is the prize. But we kind of heard the same thing from Simone Biles' husband. And, excuse me, I tend to believe that if that is a joke a man makes on a few occasions, oh, ladies, he means that. So do with that what you will and move accordingly, because if he thinks he's the prize, that is going to change some of the dynamics in the relationship, or at least it can. And then when you break up, he'll be telling you that, he was the best you had and he enriched your life and you need to get it together and get some work. So that's on that. DJ Black 909 says, whatever issues Jess has with Country Wayne, I'm sure she can get past it and they can both go their different paths. Rich people problems and blue collar problems are different problems. That is all you will hear about from me about it. Oh, and that comment was about Taraji. He said Taraji deserves her bag, but sounds like DJ Black 909 is of the mindset. I know that there was commentary from DJ Vlad and some other people on social media that feel like, much in the way with athletes, that when you hear wealthy people talk about pay disparity, they can't empathize because they feel like, listen, I'm just trying to hold it together, and you were talking about money that I can't even imagine that would probably set me up for the rest of my life. So I can't necessarily relate or extend empathy. I don't agree with that, but that is sort of the position of a lot of people. And I understand it, because sometimes people can only see as far as themselves, and it doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that is their current circumstance. And I'm sure when Taraji is having these conversations, she knows that, yes, the average person would be beyond thankful to be receiving that amount of money. However, it doesn't make it right if the standard baseline is beyond what she's getting and she's not getting her fair due. Just because it is an aggressive sum for the average person doesn't mean that she should take less just because the average person isn't getting what she's getting. I don't think that that is fair at all. So back to Country Wayne and Jess. It's a social media era thing. I mean, at least he cleared up that he had been separated from his wife when they began their relationship, because there were some questions for some about that. He made that clear. But Wayne has a lot of kids. I mean, not saying you can't be the catch with a lot of kids and a lot of babies' moms, but you're a complicated catch. One that, comes with a lot of things to manage. And so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that there's, different types of catches. And maybe Country Wayne is a fly ball as opposed to, the number one spot. I don't know. I mean, good luck to them both. I watched his Netflix special. I laughed. And I actually saw him one time at the Comedy Store perform, and I was pretty surprised. I was like, oh, he's pretty funny, because I only saw his skits a little bit on social media, and sometimes, admittedly, those social media comedians where they're funny for a minute, 30 seconds, half a skit, it doesn't necessarily always transfer to the stage, but his did. So shout out to him. DJ Black, he's on a roll. He has more to add. He says that Wayne and Jess are exes, the key word being exes. Time for Jess to leave it be. Don't you think it's time for Jess and Wayne to grow up a bit? Maybe it's just time for her to move on. I mean, he brought it up with Shannon. Shannon might have been wanting to ask about it. He hinted at that, but he said, go ahead. So, I mean, yeah, everybody should probably grow up and take us out the group chat, but that's what they do, chat. So you're probably going to get these tidbits until, the next relationship comes, and then you'll get those tidbits or what have you. But shout out to them. They'll work it out. Relationships are complicated. Things happen. Wayne had a lot to say in that interview. He also discussed how women are better cheaters than men. We hear this all the time, and I think it's true, but I also think it's just that in a lot of cases, men aren't worried about the details, so they just miss stuff. May not be necessary. I mean, women are, more thoughtful, And when I say thoughtful, I mean they're going to think about the angles where they could get caught. Whereas men, you guys usually get caught because of silly stuff, because you're not looking at the details. But we don't condone cheating here. So it is what it is. Listen, there is a cost to your city not creating affordable housing in it. Beverly Hills recently learned that. So a judge has recently banned home improvements in Beverly Hills because they haven't done enough, so they feel. It's a judge in the LA Superior Court, Judge Curtis Aiken. He blocked the city from issuing all building permits except for new residential developments as a penalty because Beverly Hills has failed to approve a sufficient blueprint for affordable housing. Now, I know Beverly Hills and affordable housing don't seem to go together, but we know that California is in a severe housing crisis. So everyone has to what? Kind of do their part. And so the judge is serious about, making the area fall in line. So, of course, officials are appealing the decision. Like, this is the thing. Beverly Hills is the type of city that approves permits for $100,000 basement spas and $125 million mega mansion. So putting a pause to all of those things, it's going to cause some type of uproar. And I'm curious to see what happens or where it goes. It's like one of the stiffest consequences that we've heard of as far as affordable housing and putting, things in place for the area. I don't know if it's going to work, though. And what type of affordable housing are you going to put in Beverly Hills? And I wonder if it's relative, if it's sort of like we hear with a lot of new constructions where they have to put X amount of units that could be available for assistance, or is it the baseline for rent charges? Seems complicated. We'll look into that, though, and keep you updated as that story develops. On the other side, we're going to get into Kevin Hart and his response again to Cat Williams, plus some numbers from his new film. We're also going to get a little bit into, Kanye West. He has an apology tour coming up. We'll talk about that on the other side. More trending topics and headlines. Stay right there. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe and KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is up next.
Come on, baby, now.